Welcome to another episode of the House Huddle Podcast. Here are your hosts, Rob Schwartz and Justin Onayemi, two Bears fans who decided talking into a microphone was better than shouting at their television.
Welcome into episode 62 of the House Huddle Podcast.
Huddle up!
We're already off to a better start than last week, guys.
It's easier after a win.
Yes, it feels so much better. So much better. As always, I'm Rob Schwartz with Bear Goggles On. With me, one of my closest friends, Justin Onayemi.
Good to be here.
Yeah,
This is going to be nice, I think.
I don't even know where to begin because it's a win. And it's not even like just a win. I mean, it was like
Statement.
Yes, it was. And I'm going to address a comment that I didn't get to address via text at this point. I just saw it today. I was a little bit behind. It was actually posted, I believe, yesterday. But one of our very early on subscribers, supporters, Dr. Truth. I know he's also CHGO guy because that's, I think, where we had that cross connection there. But he was calling me out for being overly negative, and he's tired of the negativity. One thing that helps with getting rid of negativity is winning.
I agree.
Winning cures
a lot.
Whew.
We're going to talk a lot about that, I think.
Yes. And I do apologize, but when we do record the show, it's typically within 12 hours of the game.
Mm-hmm.
My emotions are running high. Okay. I'm an emotional guy. That's why we have Rob's rants. Okay. So I'm an emotional guy. It's running hot. There's going to be times where my negativity probably comes off worse than it probably should be. Had I had 24 hours to calm down, maybe it wouldn't have been as bad. But this team was on a 14-game losing streak. I don't know how positive I could be.
So, I mean, doing this podcast makes me hyper-focused on what's happening with the Bears. And even prior to doing this podcast, I've been a Bears fan. I'm a sports fan. I listen to sports radio. I don't know that I was really listening to podcasts necessarily, but that kind of thing. And I maybe don't listen as much anymore because I want my takes to be my takes, not things I hear. But I don't feel like very many people were positive on the Bears last week prior to the Thursday night game. We were going into it saying, if you get embarrassed on national television, like that was our expectation.
Sure.
Then again, in UFFL, we flipped the script. No one needs to know about that, but we had a lot of confidence in the Bears and they paid off.
That's right.
But you know what? I think we were calling it how we saw it. And that's why today's episode is going to feel a lot different, I think.
It is. But I still want Dr. Truth we love your support, obviously, and we love your intake that you with your comments. Like, I do listen. Like, I try to improve upon the things that I need to improve upon. So definitely leave comments, guys. Like, we don't just ignore them. Okay. So there's things you want to say to us, leave a comment. You say we suck. You think my outfit's trash? Tell my wife, okay? This is picture day, GQ look. I felt like I didn't want to put on the Bears stuff today, so
I look out of place, but that's okay.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just, it feels so refreshing. And I know the Denver game, like the offense looked really, really good until it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, and there are things even in this Thursday game that I'm going to still pick apart a little bit and be a little critical on. Yeah. But overall, it was just a great performance. Unusual performance from what we've been used to seeing. But after watching it, it made me feel like this could be here to stay. I'm not saying they go on a 14-game win streak, but just playing competitive ball. That's the thing I keep coming back to is like this league is designed for parity. It's designed for you to win some and lose some.
Yeah.
So to go 14 in a row without a single win just really stood out. And now you're in the mix with a bunch of other teams that aren't that great. I mean, we'll talk at the end of the show, a little preview into next week. But the 1-4 Bears, who could easily be 2-3, are going up against the 1-4 Vikings.
Who would have thought
Exactly.
at the beginning of the season, right? I mean, most people had the Vikings being the second place team in this division.
Well, and I don't know if you can have an up arrow as a 1-4 team, but I feel like the Bears arrow is going up, and the Vikings one, maybe not.
I was very grateful for Kirk Cousins and Jordan Addison today in my fantasy football league, so I'm happy about that.
But part of that's because Justin Jefferson was not playing well and got hurt.
Yeah.
So it could be interesting next week. Bears on extra rest, which they really, really need.
Yes.
Some bad injury news that we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yes.
But you want to go into the actual game?
Yeah. Let's just dive in.
Okay.
This was the Justin Fields DJ Moore game. I mean, it's 1+2 equals win.
I'll take it.
Right? Like, I don't know how else to think about it, because I'll be honest, the defense had its moments, but it still looked bad.
I didn't feel that way.
I did.
No
There
way.
were many times that they were letting up third down completions and 3rd and long again. Like, there was one, I think it was 3rd and 13 that they let go. Like,
you're not going to go from giving up 60% to being the 85 Bears when you're missing 4/5 of your secondary.
Well, that's the problem.
But
There's
these
a
guys
lot
stepped
of
up.
injuries.
Terrell Smith with a great strip and forced fumble and recovery.
Greg
Stroman played
again.
very well.
Yes.
I thought the D-line showed up more than they had. Billings with some run stuff.
Jervon Dexter, guys, is starting to heat up.
Some pressure on the quarterback. And look what that does.
Yes.
So
here's my thought with that. And I'm sorry, I know you were a Justin Jones supporter, but I'm really liking the Andrew Billings, Jervon Dexter pairing. I know a lot of people didn't see him as a 3 tech. They all wanted him to be a 1 tech. I think he could play both. And the way he's been playing the 3, he's been the biggest disruptor playing the 3 tech. Occasionally Walker when they move him inside. But if you can keep that pairing going, especially like on 3rd downs or any passing down, that you know is going to be passing down, that to me is the way to set this team up for success.
Yeah, I mean, I think you are seeing. I mean, don't apologize for me liking Justin Jones. I mean, he was the best of a very bad unit last year,
and he's a good leader.
Yeah,
they like him
Absolutely.
from that standpoint.
So you hope that he's getting out-snapped pretty soon here. And I don't know what they have in store this next game, but you kind of have a mini bye, as they like to say. And especially when you're coming off a win, I think that there's a little pep in your step coming off a week like that. But you might be starting to see Dexter take some snaps away. Pickens made some plays as well.
Yep.
So that was really good to see. But overall, I thought the defense, especially early in the game, played well. They came out of the second half flat, which I can't really explain why that would happen. I mean, Eberflus said, we're going to come out like it's 0-0. And they are not a team that's used to playing up 27-3.
Washington
but right away, it started to remind me of Denver.
Washington made adjustments. They started passing the ball and not running the ball at all. They were just passing almost on every single down, and it was just like, okay, you got to stop them. You got to stop them. And I don't think they were prepared for it. But they calmed down and they did adjust, which is something we haven't seen over the first few weeks, which alluded to Matt Eberflus did open the possibility of him bringing in either outside help or maybe reshuffling some things on the defensive side. Is it possible that could ruin things? Because the one thing I did like, especially early on, was the blitzing. Or
creative blitzes,
right? Just even if it wasn't a blitz, like making it look like they were showing blitz, and it's like things that we weren't seeing the first few weeks, and especially with Alan Williams, because that guy, maybe 3 blitzes that I think in my lifetime I've ever seen him run, and that's over a season and a half. I'm exaggerating, guys, but like it just seemed like he never wanted to do anything but run or have the front 4 go.
Right. I heard the same thing about Eberflus bringing people in, and I didn't look too far into it, but it almost sounded to me like it was people that could work with them during the week and let him do his coaching duties during the week, but it sounded like he'd still be calling the plays. And that's how I interpreted it.
I think I'd be okay with that too. I mean, he's got to run the whole team. That was one of our bigger issues with Matt Nagy. he wanted to be a CEO type, but yet couldn't because he was so hyper focused on running the offense.
I want to go back to something real quick, and it's shifting gears, but it's responding to something you said. Obviously, it was a huge DJ Moore game.
Yeah.
8 catches, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns. How many catches do you think other receivers on the Bears had?
That game?
Yes, in the Washington game.
Are we counting running backs?
Wide receivers.
Just wide receivers. I know Equanimous St. Brown had at least one. Well, 2 if you count.
Wrong game.
Is that the Denver game?
That was the Denver game.
Oh, that was a Denver game.
Okay. So
I know Darnell Mooney had 4 targets, no catches.
Okay.
Chase Claypool wasn't here.
Absent. Unexcused. Well, stop.
I'm going to say 0.
The only 2 receivers you need to name, you just named. Equanimous St. Brown was targeted once, had 0 catches. Mooney targeted 4 times, 0 catches.
So it was all hit.
No other wide receiver on the team caught a single pass.
DJ Moore and Cole Kmet.
Which brings me, Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan. That was it. But anyway, what it points out to me is to really, really see this offense take another step, I think you're going to have to get some other people going.
Yes.
Because eventually teams are going to know, hey, Moore is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
We need to do what we can to stop this guy. And then what? Now, what frustrates me is Fields to Mooney used to be something you could rely on.
Almost automatic.
And they look off.
Yes.
The very first play of the game, and I'm going to come back to something that I'm going to quickly mention now, but I want to talk more in depth. But the very first play of the game, beautiful pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Kudos to Getsy. We've called him out a lot of times, but he used the running backs and tight ends to assist in blocking, to chip very well this game. A lot of clean pockets for Fields. So he has a clean pocket. Mooney beats his guy. Yep. Fields puts it out in front of him. I feel like if he just keeps running, the game starts with a 75-yard touchdown to Mooney.
Even if it's not, it's at least a 45-yard gain.
But instead, he turns, backpedals, mistimes his jump, and then I hear people say Fields threw it badly.
No,
it's a terrible play by Mooney.
You asked me via text message, and I completely agreed with you.
Now, there was another one where Mooney goes out to the left. Fields missed that throw.
Yes. And
then so it was only 4 targets. So those were 2.
And he had time.
One was a throwaway.
To do it also.
And then the other one, should have been pass interference in the end zone.
Yes.
Pretty well thrown, but anyway. But that used to be a really consistent connection.
There wasn't.
And if we see that again,
calls not called.
Yeah, there was. But I'm saying if Mooney and Fields can get back to somewhat of what they had, and you got DJ Moore, and you got Kmet, then you have the defense has too much to worry about, and you can really start to see this offense click.
It's going to sound weird because I've been the more pessimistic one in many regards. Although I was higher on my percentage for Justin Fields than Justin was. I got to throw that out there. But I don't really worry too much about the Mooney Fields connection because it started off slow last year too, and then eventually it started to heat up again. I think it's just a matter of I almost wonder if Fields has to figure out how to throw it differently to both Moore and Mooney because obviously they're just different. And it's almost like he's trying to throw it to a wide receiver 1 and Mooney's really a wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3, and just they're not connecting.
That's what we thought the problem was early last season. Right. Is now he's drawing the attention as a 1,
right? And
can you get it to him? So you're right. I mean, I hope something clicks, but you just don't want to be very one-dimensional and very predictable. Now, granted, a lot of that 230 was run after the catch, which you cannot take that away from DJ Moore. I'm sorry, you cannot. That's a big part of his game. He had one up the sideline where I don't think he went out of bounds. And the ref just blew the whistle. I was really mad because all he had to do was not blow the whistle. And then if he steps out, it's a challengeable play because it would have been a touchdown.
It wasn't even the ref that was right there watching the play. It was the ref like 20 yards down.
I didn't think he was out.
And
the broadcast didn't do a good job of showing us.
They purposefully, I don't think, showed it.
I don't know about that, but
this was have you seen the Buffalo Wild Wings commercials where they're like, all right, we got to bring this game closer together. People want to keep drinking, eating wings.
Well, not people who had DJ Moore on their fantasy team.
We did.
So going into the game, I put down some keys. I put Bears secondary very banged up. Brisker will play, but we didn't know how he would play because he was questionable going in. Tevin Jenkins, first action of the season. What would it look like? I want to go back to that. And then can Justin Fields keep it going? So I feel pretty good about the keys that I picked out
Very good.
because the secondary played great, I thought, given,
The circumstances.
they were facing. And now with longer rests, I heard Jalen Johnson already say, I will definitely play in Minnesota. Now, granted, that's a player saying it, not a medical staff. Tevin Jenkins was forced into more action than we expected, and I thought played very well.
Yeah.
It made me actually believe that this line, if they can figure out center, which maybe they should have drafted someone, we'll talk about.
So I tweeted out during the game, I said all it took was Tevin Jenkins to get healthy and Nate Davis to finish grieving. Because when those two were on the field at the same time, I don't think it mattered who your center was. Well, it mattered for one reason, because
those snaps.
Come on, Cody. Come on. We can't have that every week.
There were multiple plays, and one was a 3rd down and 7, I want to say, where I don't know if it just happened to be the way the broadcast was showing it, but I was like, man, the middle is wide open.
Yeah.
And they ran the ball right down their throats, even on like 3rd and long, and converted. But like you said, if you got Nate Davis, who's even better in run blocking than he is in pass protection, and Tevin Jenkins as your guards, you could really start to see some amazing things up the middle.
Yeah.
I feel like I can remember a play where Darnell Wright got beat, but overall, I've really liked his performance.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're starting to see a line that could be
average
to, dare I say, above average.
There was one snap pretty early on in the game. Montez Sweat just
he
blew
he
right
slowed him down
by
initially and then got beat on the second.
Yeah,
move.
he
on the
fell
counter.
for like the second burst, right? And a lot of guys will do that. They'll change up their speeds. And Montez Sweat got there pretty quick. And I tweeted out, like, all right, Darnell Wright was looking like a rookie on that one. And people are like, well, he is a rookie. No shit. That's what I'm saying. Like,
right. It's going to
he
happen.
hasn't looked like a rookie
Right.
most of the
In
season.
other
So,
times.
like, this was more of a compliment
Right.
than it was me calling
Mhm.
him out, right? Like, he has looked that good that it, especially for offensive tackles, there are so many. And guys, I keep it saying, like, I was not as high on him as most people. I did not think he'd be able to move the way that he's moving.
Mhm.
And you're seeing it
Yeah, they pulled him on a
consistently.
counter to the left, and he just annihilated a
He gets-
corner that tried to come in
Yes.
and make a play.
He gets to the
flattened him.
second level
And then
just
went for another guy.
boom. So now you got Tevin Jenkins, who's a mauler. You got Darnell Wright, who looks like he's a mauler. Nate Davis can be now again. His
He's
head's
gearing
back
up.
in the game.
Right. He's probably
right?
gearing
Like,
up.
I've lost a parent. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. I don't blame him for any of that. So now if you get Braxton Jones back, I mean, Larry Bourne played fairly well on the left side. I think Pro Football Focus gave him a really bad grade and said he let up like 8 pressures. I didn't see 8 pressures. I'd have to go back and rewatch the game, specifically watching him. But I don't recall 8 pressures. He was
And he's your
left
backup.
on an island. Not the whole game, I mean, but there was many times he was left on the island because you said like they chipped a lot with
They
the tight
chipped
ends
a
and
lot
the
more
running
today.
backs.
Yep.
And
Or that game.
And I think that was a good move because they were using both Komet and Tunyon. But it's like he played well enough.
Mhm.
But if you put in Braxton Jones, who I think is better, that offensive line is starting to come together.
So what is the injury outlook on Braxton Jones? I haven't heard any
It's
updates.
neck, but I haven't heard anything beyond.
Did he officially go IR?
Yes,
Okay. So he
But-
has to be out at least
4 weeks.
2 more weeks.
I believe so. Yes,
Okay.
I'd have to confirm, but yeah, I think it's 2 more.
Well, since we're talking injuries, I think one thing to point out, and this was actually a play I feel like Fields kind of missed.
And
Khalil
Scramble Herbert tried to make a play,
I know, but I
almost wish he didn't because
I don't know what he was doing, and I don't know what Fields was doing. It just looked ugly. But
It
that
did.
injury did not look good.
yeah,
I was surprised he then tried to even come back, but when he
Yes.
did, he basically collapsed the second he tried to even change direction.
he was fine when he wasn't
Trying to do
running the
football,
ball,
play
right?
football,
Yeah. Then
exactly.
he got his 1 carry, made his cut, and it was just
bad.
like he
so.
went straight.
I'm hearing it could be 3 to 6 weeks
Yeah.
that he is out. That's a big loss, especially Rojo also went out in the game with a concussion.
But you never know how long those.
It wasn't the play where he went helmet to helmet with a player and did a 720, not just a 360. He
Yeah.
spun twice around. I was like, that dude he needs to be evaluated. He played a few more snaps. Then I hear he had a concussion.
Yeah, I mean
It had
that
to be
could have
that
still
play.
been the play, right? It just sometimes it takes them. It shouldn't.
Who? That's my point. I don't. Okay.
No, I know.
I
We've
got a
talked about
concussion
this
in my
enough.
life before where I did not know I got it, and I played the rest of a soccer game with it. Bad idea.
Yes,
But there wasn't paid professionals
who are
out there
overseeing
whose only job is to evaluate
Correct. even if it's
when you saw him hit helmet to helmet and do
you
a
make him
full
go to
2
the blue
spins,
tent.
he has to be checked.
Yes.
So anyway, now you're down 2. Homer, was it hamstring?
Hamstring.
Down 3.
And that happened like immediately after.
Right.
Herbert
Blasingame
went
ended
out.
up playing serviceably when they needed him.
He did. I was a little surprised they didn't try any Valus as a running back.
I said they should go Fields at running back and bring in Bacon at quarterback.
You did say
That's a joke, everyone. Please, that's a joke. But they did sign Darrington Evans, who's familiar with the system.
He was here last year. He bounced around on 3-4 practice squads this offseason.
And let's not forget, Dante Foreman was inactive for that game. Yes. But as far as we know, he was a healthy scratch.
Correct.
So you should be
you
okay
have 2
there.
running backs plus Blasingame.
Yeah. And as long as Foreman's not caught up in his feelings like Claypool would have been, then he has something to prove now.
Right. And with a 10-day week, it is possible Homer could be healthy by then.
Right.
So
okay.
I think they'll be okay. But Khalil Herbert was running the ball well.
Well, and to your point of Valus, there's been some creativity the last 2 weeks, I would say, with running some jet sweeps either to Scott, Valus, things like that. And let's not forget, you still have Justin Fields. They did better design runs with him this game than in the past.
Where was this?
Now, what I will say, though, there was a pattern that I started to notice, which was they would run with him on 1st down and 10 pretty consistently.
Yeah.
I'm not a defensive coordinator, but you start getting predictable like that, you could have problems. But there were unique types of runs. Like once he faked a pitch and it kind of was a counter. The other time really legitimately was like a play action, and then he rolled out with Darnell Wright and Kmet as lead blockers.
Yeah.
I mean, we see some creative stuff happening.
Yeah. We have to give Luke Getsy some props too. I mean, the play calling has been a lot better over the last couple of weeks. I know
and
predictability. And the execution. And I know predictability has been an issue. But the coaches said it multiple times. No one wanted to believe them. We're getting close. And here, guys, here we go. I mean, is this just a performance that we've seen the last 2 weeks because they played Denver and then the Commanders? I got to say, though, the Commanders had a good run defense going into this game. And
it doesn't matter. You play your schedule.
Sure.
So,
but is it fool's gold, right? Or, like you said, and I think that you hit it right, it feels like there's been a change. It feels like there's been a shift. It feels like things are moving in the right direction. Does it mean they're going to win 8 games? Probably not. Could they end up with 6? I think so.
I hope so. It's got to be at least that. But anyway, something we had talked about coming into this game. If you get embarrassed on national TV, go to 0-5, lose your 15th straight. You were talking about, and I was in agreement, but does this coaching staff even still have the ear of the players?
Yep.
Now, they celebrated like they just won the Super Bowl, which is a little much for me. But I do feel they still believe, at least to the extent you need them to.
Sure.
And so all of a sudden, could this season go in a way where maybe they're not firing Eberflus? Maybe they're going to see enough out of Fields. And I mean, here's the thing. I'm past the point. We can't be talking tank. We can't be talking draft pick until at least November. Now, Carolina's draft pick, I'm all about talking about that.
They could end
one.
up with the first.
They're
round
0-5 right now, and I love that.
Yeah.
But as far as the Bears pick goes, my goal for them is that by week 15 of this season, you're still shown on that list of people that are in the hunt. Because sometimes that list gets a little murky where you're like, should they be on the list?
They were on the list last year.
No, really?
In late October.
Really?
Yeah. That was their last win.
Oh, late October.
They were 3-5.
I said into November. Or week 15.
It was like October 29th.
I'm talking, I'm saying by December. When it really is like who's going to make the playoffs.
Sure.
I still want to see them in the hunt.
Yes.
Whatever that might mean. But that's going to start with needing to continue the type of progression they've been on the last 2 weeks.
Yep.
One was a loss. We've talked about that at nauseum. But you got to continue on that. You're playing a 1-4 team as well coming into this next game.
Yeah.
Does Minnesota believe? I don't think so.
Here's the
thing.
They
caught their first pass of the game. Catch. Run after catch by the tight end. Fumble.
Here's
in today's game for the Vikings. And immediately their heads went down. They looked dejected.
As bad or as much as I felt like that Commanders game meant something, especially to the coaching staff, now that they got that win under their belt, I hate to say it, this win means even more. And the reason being, Matt Eberflus has not beaten a divisional opponent since becoming the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
0-6 last year.
That cannot happen going forward.
Cannot.
And again, I'm not trying to be negative or overly negative, but a lot would have to change over the rest of this season for me to think Matt Eberflus deserves to still be the head coach of this team. We saw way too much stuff. And maybe Ryan Poles is right when he said, look, we've been dealing with a lot of adversity off the field, a lot of adversity on the field with injuries. Maybe they do rally.
12 more games.
I hope they prove me wrong, guys. I do.
12 more games.
I hope.
And let me just point out two things, and I think we should take a break. 12 more games. But if you start to get an offensive line that you can believe in, that can give Justin Fields a clean pocket consistently, and you start to get some health in the secondary, because we thought that was going to be one of the strengths of the team. Meanwhile, most of your starters haven't been seeing the field. But those two things, in the next 12 games, I'm not going to go game by game, but we know who they play. You got one more against the Packers, 2 the Lions, 2 Vikings. Throw in the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Panthers. Could you go 6-6?
Oh, for sure.
If you go 6-6, you're 7-10. Depending on when those 6 wins are, you're in the hunt, and you're a mediocre team. Now, should that be the bar? I don't know. But they started 0-4. We thought they could go 0-5, need to fire their coach. Is Justin Fields the answer? All of a sudden, it's looking like, okay, show us. Show us that you're at least average. You're at least competitive.
I'm going to fully admit something. And this is for Chicago Bears media. This is for fans. This is for podcasters, bloggers. We are a very emotional group. We have gone through decades of poor football with sprinkles of good football in between. Overreacting to small portions of a season is going to happen. It's going to continue to happen. We are on a high right now. Okay. We saw Justin Fields. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on the second half when I got some stuff here from Justin. I'm doing a this just in.
And he did not tell me anything. I'm very intrigued.
When you put what we've seen from Justin Fields over the last 2 weeks, even including the fumble, even including the interception to Cole Kmet at the end of the game, and now you see Caleb Williams have a pretty bad game against Arizona State. I think that's who they played.
Mm-mm.
Wasn't Arizona State?
I don't think so. I thought Colorado just beat Arizona State.
Maybe I'm getting them confused.
Okay.
Maybe that's who it was, who I was thinking of. Start with an A. I'm blanking on it. Either way, he had 219 yards. I watched the game, not fully. I went back and watched clips of the game. And threw for 219 yards, only 1 touchdown. He did have 3 rushing touchdowns on the night. And they ended up pulling out a win in triple overtime. But now you see him have like a subpar game. You see Justin Fields. So now it's like the tables have turned, right? So now everyone's like, oh, let's keep Justin. Let's not even think about Caleb Williams. Guess what? Right now, and I'm calling myself out on this. We need to stop with that stuff, like Justin said, for a while, right? Because one, let's see what pick we get. Maybe we do have the top pick in the draft because of Carolina, right? Mm-hmm. But say they have the top pick in the draft because of Carolina, and you can trade that, still stay in the top 5, end up with a guy like Joe Alt from Notre Dame, left tackle, or you take one of the top defensive ends, or you get Marvin Harrison,
right,
Jr.
Well, and in that scenario, you're also getting first-round picks of the future. You might get a player back. Right. You can ask a lot, I think, for that pick.
So again, I put myself in this. I blame myself. And next week, if we see them crap the bed, I'll probably be on the same side I was on 2 weeks ago. I have to reel myself in. Everyone does. And I know there's fans out there that do a great job. Bob and Justin are actually really good at staying like even keeled. I
called
applaud
numb.
them. I applaud them.
I'm
no,
numb.
because like we'll text and like I'm like the emotional like, what are they thinking? Like I don't even think about what I'm saying. I just call them out, and they bring me back to reality. Okay, they do a great job of that.
That's why we're fire and ice.
Fire and ice, ham and cheese.
We didn't rehearse.
All right, let's take a break. Before we do, hit the subscribe button. Get yourself entered into a chance to win a Chicago Bears jersey free. We will pay for it. Send it to you, whoever you want.
After the break, I'm going to tell you something we've now done 2 weeks in a row.
I hope that's a good thing and not a bad thing.
We'll find out.
All right. After these ads.
And we are back to the Hallis Huddle. Rob, 2 weeks in a row, man. You put it all on my shoulders. I don't know why. But this is episode 62. We did not designate a player to honor this to. It's 62. I'm sorry. It can't be the Lucas Patrick episode. It cannot. So we looked it up, and there are two. I'm going to give honorable mention to Mark Bortz. He was on the 85 Bears, but they get so much attention already.
Yeah.
Can't give it to all the 85 Bears, and I wouldn't quite put him in the like legend category.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
I know you said you recognized him.
I mean, they had a really good O-line, and he was part of that.
I did not. Named meant nothing to me.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
we're going to go
Mark.
with Dan Jiggets.
Way more in my brain.
So I never saw him as a player, but then he ended up being a member of the media, both on the Score and I want to say CBS.
Yeah.
Or maybe
right.
NBC.
One
maybe
of those
both, to be
two.
honest. Sometimes those people bounce around.
Yeah.
But we're going to go with the Dan Jiggets episode. So we really talked a lot about the game on Thursday and how it did a lot to change our spirits.
Yeah.
But now I'm going to toss it over to you because you have a surprise for me, I believe, and hopefully for the listeners as well. Remember to subscribe and to like and to comment so we can keep getting better for you all.
Yeah. Guys, comment because you're going to be called out in the show. Dr. Truth called me out. I apologized. He's right. I got to stop being so negative. I got to maintain that level of emotion. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to live up to it. So, Dr. Truth, please keep supporting us because I know there's going to be times that's just going to be spitting. Okay. But I will do my best to remember our episode, your comments in our episode today, and hopefully I'll reel it back some more.
Okay.
We'll see what growth.
Yeah, that's right. So what are we calling this part here?
Yeah, so we're going to do Would You Rather. I got 3 Would You Rathers. Okay. I have 3 quarterbacks A, B, and C.
So this truly is a This Just In that you put on me.
Pretty much.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Oh, no.
I got 3
Turning the
quarterbacks,
tables.
A, B, and C. I'm going to throw the stats up there so you guys don't have to try to remember everything. And we're going to go through who would you rather have.
Wow.
And then I'm going to give you
what
who
it all
they are.
means.
That's
Oh, boy.
right.
Okay.
All right. So
Put on my GM hat.
let's
Looking good here.
get to the first one here. All right. Would you rather? Okay. For those of you listening and not watching at home, you just have to obviously pay attention. But quarterback A, total yards, 4,461 versus quarterback B, 4,333 versus quarterback C, only 3,780. Okay. Pretty close on the first two, but a big gap between A and C, right? Now you got total touchdowns, 35 for quarterback A, 42 for quarterback B, 36 for quarterback C. So quarterback A and C, very similar in their touchdowns, okay? Interceptions, 6 for quarterback A, 6 for quarterback B. Unfortunately, 15 for quarterback C. I'm pretty sure no one's going with C on this one, okay?
Well, I have some questions, but go ahead.
Sure. Completion percentage for these guys, we got 66.5 for quarterback A, 66.1 for quarterback B, and 60.3 for quarterback C.
So I was letting you get through all those stats so that everyone could hear them. And obviously, if you're a viewer, you're looking at the screen as well, just like I am. But now, can I ask a couple questions?
Yes.
Because when you said total touchdowns, I very much thought that meant throwing and rushing. Is that what you meant by that? Total touchdowns? Throwing
Yes.
and rushing?
Yes.
But when you say
Just
total yards, is that also what you mean? Throwing and rushing?
Yes.
Okay. And then interceptions are interceptions, but we talked in the past about putting the ball on the ground, but that's not at all mentioned in this. But that's okay.
Yeah, there's fumbles
So,
are not included.
All right. Without knowing anything, I can't take C over the other two. That's a lot of turnovers, more than the others, with a much lower percentage and the yards. So, I mean, I'm curious who it is or what it is, but clearly it stands out as the lesser of the three.
Okay.
Now, between A and B, those yards are close enough that I wouldn't really care one way or another. Those percentages are close enough. The interceptions are identical. So I think I would take the more touchdowns, even though quarterback A has 128 more yards. I'm assuming that's spread out over, looks like a season. That's negligible. So I'm going with the quarterback B produced the most points for the team while also putting up strong amount of yardage with limited turnovers.
All right. So you picked, in my opinion, the best option out of these three.
Okay.
Quarterback B.
Wait. You want me to guess who these things are?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I don't think I know, so I should have just let you tell me.
No, go ahead.
So
this one's more difficult, I think.
Okay, but these are full seasons, right?
They are full seasons, but I will give you a hint.
Projections off of what we're already seeing this season?
Nope. These are. I won't say anything about that, but they are full seasons based on 15 games because they did not play 16
Fields
or 17.
Played 15 last year. Fields couldn't be any of these. Well, he has to be, though. Fields must be C.
Fields is C.
Okay, Fields is C. Is Fields also A or B?
No.
Okay, because I was going to say Fields maybe.
No.
So C is Fields. This year's numbers projected out for the rest of the season?
Correct.
Okay. It ain't bad.
Nope.
I'll take it.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what the Bears' passing record is, so that's pretty. Oh, well, that's total yards, though.
That's total yards.
Wow, I thought he'd be higher than that with rushing.
No, he hasn't rushed a lot. There's one game he only had 3 yards.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
he's
assuming he's still on pace for over 500, right?
Yeah, he's on pace for 600.
And I thought throwing,
600.
he was on pace for like
3,800.
So shouldn't that be 4,300
with 15 games, not full season?
Oh, not for the full season. Okay. Sorry. So C is Fields, but I feel pretty good about that.
I want
interceptions.
I want you to understand the reason that I'm doing this, and I'll explain it in a minute.
All right. So
I wanted Fields to not be the best one.
Okay. Is quarterback A Hurts?
Quarterback A is Hurts from last year.
Okay.
As the number 2 MVP candidate.
Wow.
Okay. Number 2 MVP candidate.
Now, that was his first 15 games of last season?
He only played 15.
Oh, he only played 15. Okay. Yeah, you're right. He missed a couple games.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think that's what ruined his MVP chances.
True. Okay. So we got A, we got C. Then is B Mahomes?
B is not Mahomes.
Is B this season? Or that's last season?
You're never going to get it. It's very...
Brett Favre from like...
No, it's not that far back.
Okay. All right. Well, I feel good that I got 2 of them.
You did. I'm actually shocked you got both. But
I don't know why I just thought Hurts might be A, but
you did. You got it. So quarterback B is Lamar Jackson's MVP season.
Okay. You know what? Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. And the reason I went total TDs and total yards is because these are rushing quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Because if we actually look at the stats a little bit more broken down, Hurts had 3,700 yards passing, 760 rushing. Lamar had 3,100 yards passing. That's it. But he had 1,200 yards rushing. Over a 15-game pace, Justin Fields is on pace for 3,400 yards passing, 500 rushing.
So I know one thing, when you start to do things like this, both you and I love to do these types of things and crunch numbers. One thing you never want to be accused of is cherry picking stats, right?
Yeah.
But let me ask you this.
Although I just
noticed, what Fields just showed over the last 2 games closer to what he can do over the next 10, let's say. All of a sudden,
right,
you're closer to the 4,000 in total. Your 15 comes down, and his percentage, I think, would go up. Now, granted, last game it still wasn't great. I want to say 15 of
his completion percentage was only 51.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
Right. I got to make a correction here. For some reason, my spreadsheet did not. I'm looking at the 2 numbers, and they didn't add up correctly in my head. That 3,780 should actually be 4,002.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
But then
I don't know why it didn't sum it correctly.
Wow. That I mean, that puts it in perspective. You got to get those turnovers down and the percentage up. But
now, just real quick. So on Hurts's 35 total TDs, 22 of them came from passing, only 22. 13 were rushing. But he's not a running back, right? I'm just saying.
He gets his tushy pushed a lot.
He does get his tushy pushed a lot, which we saw that.
I know. Hey, why not? Why not do a play that's pretty much unstoppable?
League, right? Jeez. 36 passing touchdowns for Lamar Jackson in that season to 6 rushing touchdowns, which actually surprised me.
I thought it would have been more.
Yeah, with 1,200.
But he would have games, I remember that year, where he was like,
it was insane.
14 for 19 throwing and have like 4 touchdowns.
Yes.
And,
okay. Very efficient.
Yes.
All right. So that was the first one. Okay. So I wanted to put that out there because I wanted people to see, look.
Now, wait a minute. If C is actually closer to 4,000, that really does balance it out a bit.
A lot.
The turnovers is the only difference.
And to be honest, I'd even take the 3780 with that amount of touchdowns.
True. Well, you should put up his passer rating to DJ Moore.
158, guys.
0.3. Highest one you could have.
Yep. Perfect passer rating.
And that includes that big drop.
All right, let's move on to...
Right. So how many of these do we have?
3. So we're now to number 2.
I feel good about high performing in the first one, even if I blow it on these 2.
Yeah, no, you did fantastic. I loved it. All right, now we're going to... Again, quarterback A, quarterback A, quarterback B, quarterback C. Okay, we're changing up some stats here a little bit. Now we're going more of a per game stat instead of a complete season stat. Okay, so quarterback A, total yards per game. Again, we're doing total yards, not passing, not rushing. This is combined rushing and passing. Quarterback A, 267 yards per game. Quarterback B, 256 yards per game. Quarterback C, 262 yards per game. Okay. Touchdown to interception ratios. Quarterback A is averaging 2.2 touchdowns to 1 interception. Quarterback B is averaging 2.1 touchdown to 1 interception. Quarterback C was averaging 1.9 to 1. Quarterback ratings, pretty similar. Quarterback A, 91.2. Quarterback B, 90.1. Quarterback C, 92.3. Now a little bit better completion percentage for quarterback C, but quarterback A is at 60.4. Quarterback B, 61.4. Quarterback C, 63.
All right. So
again, these are per game.
I am almost positive that quarterback A in this one is Justin Fields. And what I would say is, looking across the board, not enough stands out between any of these to really separate them. And you should be pretty happy with any of these 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think A is Fields. I was between A and C as the ones I would take. And then I felt like, based on how I spoke about the last one, the only determinant that kind of would make me lean one way would have to be the 2.2 touchdowns to 1 interception compared to 1.9. Is that huge? No. But it's better. And all the other stats are basically relatively the same.
Yeah.
So I think A is Fields, and I think A is who I would go with on this.
You have it
followed by C, and then maybe B.
Do you want to try to figure? A is Fields.
A is Fields.
Do you want to try to figure out? You want me to give you that information, or you want to figure out the other 2?
A is Fields this year.
A is Fields for his average this year.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Are the other ones this year?
No.
Okay. Are any of B or C Fields?
Yes.
Aha. Okay. So are they all Fields?
No.
Okay. I think B is Fields last year.
Close. B is Fields over his last 17 games. So basically a full season.
A full season. Okay. So he's leveling out to be what you see there between A and B in a sense.
Correct.
And the DJ Moore factor is why your yards per games probably goes up a bit, and
your touchdowns.
Yes. So okay, so A is Fields now, B is Fields over the last imaginary season.
I am going to have to do something extreme on this show if you get C. That's
I
your
mean,
hint.
you already had your balls removed. That's
Yeah, that
pretty
happened
extreme.
this week.
I was going to say
I'm
you need a
playing.
second opinion if they're going to take your balls. I was like, does he know that that's not the procedure that should be done?
No, I don't want to explain how that was explained to me. But
All right,
it had something
well.
to do with spaghetti.
Yeah.
But we're doing good, guys.
Yeah, all right. So
I'm at 90%.
All right.
For this episode.
Now, why would you be shocked if I get C? Is that too much for me to ask?
I mean, it's just
No, but I'm saying
I threw something out there a little bit unorthodox, maybe.
So is C not a single person, but like an average?
No, it's not that unorthodox.
Okay.
Not.
It is a person.
Yes.
1.9, 92.3. I don't know why. I have a person in mind, but I'd be really shocked. One, that you would use him, and two, that his numbers would be that good. But for some reason, is it Daniel Jones?
It is not Daniel Jones.
Okay. I don't think
he is a white quarterback, though.
Oh,
if that helps.
Does that help? There are a lot of white guys. I mean, let's be honest. There's starting to be some non-white guys, but
I'm honestly
they still rule the day.
Yeah.
All right. Is it this season?
No.
Okay.
It's not even this era.
Stafford?
Per se.
Oh, not this era.
Not per se.
Steve Young.
Closer to this era.
Mobile?
No. I think I just gave it away.
I don't think so.
Oh my god.
Just because he's not mobile?
Not mobile.
At all. Phillip Rivers?
No.
All right. I'm done.
All right. Quarterback C, for those of you playing along at home, is Tom Brady's 2005 Super Bowl season.
Wow.
They won the Super Bowl. They went 10-6 that year. Okay.
Was that his first season?
No.
Oh.
No. 2001, I think, was his first year.
Okay.
They won the Super Bowl in 2004. In fact, in 2005, he was voted
MVP, huh?
He did not win MVP that year.
Oh, I thought you just said he was MVP. No, just Super Bowl winner.
No,
okay.
He was number 3 in MVP voting. He went to the Pro Bowl. He was an All-Pro. He was 4th in All-Pro Offensive Player of the Year voting.
So is that far enough back that you would say the league was drastically different?
Yes.
Okay.
But 10-6, won a Super Bowl.
Interesting.
I wanted to get a little bit of throw that out there. Look, this was Tom Brady's numbers. It was good enough to win a Super Bowl, but yet we're calling for Justin Fields' head right now. Not all of us. But
just what I said, though, if the league is different, if the game is different,
sure.
Not necessarily a fair comparison, but I see your point.
Yes.
And that's cool that it is that close. So,
all right.
Nice, man.
So we got
one
one
more.
more.
Change your name to Justin.
We got one more. These are fun. I like these. All right. So, number 3, would you rather? Okay. Quarterback A, 4,536 total yards. Quarterback B, 5,170 total yards. Quarterback C, 4,511 total yards. Total touchdowns. Quarterback A has 40. Quarterback B has 42. Quarterback C only has 29. 29. Interceptions. Quarterback A had 17. Quarterback B had 15. Quarterback C only had 7. So, yes, Justin's alluded to it. Takes care of the football. Okay? That's why quarterback C has a 99.3 quarterback rating. Why quarterback A only has a 91.4 and quarterback B has a 92.2.
So, you know I'm pretty good at math, right?
Yep.
A is Justin Fields over 17 games.
Yep.
Because I saw the rating.
Yep.
In the 15 games, he had 15 interceptions. So I figured that was in 15 games. This is him in 17. And those numbers look fantastic.
Yep. I mean,
now,
if we
look at right there, next quarterback B, you got to take B over A. More yards, more touchdowns, fewer interceptions. Look at that.
Yes.
Quarterback C, I mean, the rating looks great. But a rating over 90 is great, regardless, I feel like. And although 7 interceptions, taking care of the ball, managing the game a little better maybe, but the 29 touchdowns is a lot fewer than 40 or 42. And the yards, With A is about even. With B is a lot less. So I'd go B, A, C.
Okay. I would agree with you.
Okay. So A is Fields over 17 games at his current pace.
Correct. Whew, guys, if those numbers hit,
Whew.
and let me say,
Oh
there's
my
a game in
gosh.
there that he only had 99 yards passing.
What was his running that game?
It
It was against KC. I don't recall him having a good running day that day.
was. I have it. I
You
have
have
it. 47 yards rushing.
Well, because that's what I was trying to say is these last two games, if that becomes the new bar, I'm not saying he has the same, 4 touchdowns to 1 pick. The last 2 games is 8 touchdowns to 1 pick.
Correct.
So that pace is not going to continue.
No.
But hopefully it becomes more the norm. All right, so A is Fields over 17 games. B, I wish I was paying closer attention. I thought there was another 92.2 rating that I saw, but maybe not. Oh boy.
Neither of these have anything to do with the first 2 slides.
Okay. Quarterback B is somebody this year's pace. No?
Both quarterback B and quarterback C are a full finished season.
A full finished season. 29-7. Is that Fields from last year?
No. Only quarterback A is Fields.
Okay.
And I picked quarterback C for one specific reason.
Because it's Mitch Trubisky?
It is not. It is not.
No, I don't think
he only
had
had 24.
I don't think he'd have that many yards.
Yeah, 24 total
All
touchdowns.
right, you picked him for a reason. Boy.
And he had more interceptions.
These are all pros, right?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure you're not throwing Caleb Williams on here for
No,
quarterback
so
B.
I actually thought about doing Justin
Not
Fields'
apples to
college
apples.
stats
Oh,
to Caleb Williams'
okay.
college stats, but I decided.
Yeah, it's a different game.
Yep.
It's a different game. All right. Who's C? It's not a lot of touchdowns, but not a lot of picks. Taking care of the ball, managing the game. How far back? Because I have a name in my head, but Eli Manning?
No, these are within the last 2 to 3 years.
Okay.
1 to 2 years. I don't want to throw you off. 1 to 2 years.
1 to 2 years.
Yeah.
All right. Josh Allen is B.
Josh Allen is B. Ding, ding, ding. Justin is good at this game. I hope you guys are winning at home.
Yeah, Josh Allen is B. I don't know why it just popped into my head there.
Yep. That was his 2001 season.
That's a B season right there.
That is.
But A doesn't look so bad either. And then I would like to know fumbles, though, by the way. Now that you mentioned Josh
purposely
Allen.
left fumbles off.
Because he was a fumbling machine, and as Fields tends to be sometimes.
Yes.
All right,
Most
quarterback
running back
C, 1 or 2
quarterbacks
years.
do
Not a
tend
lot
to
of
fumble.
touchdowns. 1 or 2 years. Justin Herbert?
Nope.
Okay. I give up.
Quarterback C is Jared Goff last year
Oh,
for
yeah.
the Detroit Lions.
Oh, that's a good pick.
And I purposely picked
Thank
them
you.
because all offseason I heard about how great Jared Goff is.
Right.
And how the Lions are. And don't get me wrong,
He's
played
played
playing well.
They've
had a good game today, 4
Yeah.
touchdowns. But
yeah.
when we're just talking stats, I'm tired of hearing that Justin Fields is a running back. Right? Like, come on. Like, and I know we're extrapolating.
And you're
people
playing
are-
total.
Correct.
So those totals do include rushing, and
Correct.
those touchdowns include rushing. But
Right.
that rating, that's not the rating of a running back. But that's not Taysom Hill doesn't have that kind of rating.
Correct. Correct. No.
All right. Wow. This brought some nice feelings.
I just wanted to bring some perspective
I like
to it
it.
because I felt like, and Dr. Truth brought me to this. By the way, guys, Dr. Truth brought me to this because I felt like I was being too negative on Justin Fields after an amazing performance outside of 2 plays against Denver, and I didn't even fault him for it. There were things he could have done on the fumble, yes. There are things he could have done on the interception, yes. But I wanted him to throw that ball. It was an anticipatory throw that we have been calling for, and we saw those throws develop to DJ Moore against the Commanders and even to Cole Kmet in that game too.
Yeah.
Even
If you want to be a little picky,
even the Fields to Mooney throw,
I still think some of his throws could come out a little quicker.
they could.
But you can't knock the results he's been having these last 2 weeks.
But you also have to admit, one, the line has been blocking a little bit better.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen his clock get a little faster.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering is if they continue to block well and he's feeling more comfortable,
Yes.
is he going to just start making the decisions?
Trust the decisions. Trust the throw. Well, it's not even that hard to imagine. If you have a cleaner pocket, your eyes can be on what's happening out there with the routes and with the coverage.
Correct.
But when there's chaos coming around you, even the best quarterbacks have to take their eyes down to sense what's going on around them. Therefore, you're not seeing the field as well. Right. Now, one thing I don't know why the Bears do it as often as they do is they make him do these play actions, some of which aren't really like that good of fakes, I guess you could say. In which case, he's messing with the ball. He's messing with his eyes.
Yeah.
But if that's stuff they practice and he can perform it well, then I won't keep harping on it.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking us through that. It did make me feel a heck of a lot better because those numbers are attainable, and maybe he can go above those.
I'm sure we're gonna have some naysayers say these are extrapolations, like this isn't. But guys, we're seeing it, and I showed you the first one specifically because it was.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the second one.
Yeah.
Because it was the last 17 games.
Yes.
That's not extrapolating.
Right.
That's what he's done.
And it includes some stinkers.
Yes. Detroit last year.
Yes.
Kansas City this year.
Yes.
Washington last year.
Would that be in the?
I believe
that was week 5 of last year. So maybe that was the 17th game.
It's week 4 through week 5.
Okay. So that would be like the second game of the series or something. Okay. Yeah. So that was a stinker.
Yeah.
Wow. That helps a lot, to be honest. And
you see his around him numbers going up because a lot of those games last year were rushing.
Yeah.
So those total yardage was a lot to do with rushing. But this year, what we're seeing is 218 yards, 220 yards.
Well, and we've been consistent on this show, always saying yards are yards.
Yep.
Whether you get them throwing, whether you get them running, like those are yards that the ball is moving down the field towards the other goal line.
Team is only going to gain so many yards in a game. It's impossible to do more, right? Like that's just how math works with the amount of time that they have, with how the 100 yards works. It doesn't matter how you're getting those yards.
And if he's getting 70 yards rushing a game, but a lot of it's coming off of runs you've selected where he's not taking big hits and it's not just him running for his life.
Yeah.
That's progress. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers today, but Hurts ran for 60 or so yards at least. And I didn't watch that game, but you can tell that's a part of his game.
Yeah.
Just like it should be for Fields, a part of his game. Wow. Excellent, man.
Yeah, it went a little long. We don't really have much of a preview for next week anyway. I think Justin hit on it enough already, to be honest.
True.
1-4 Bears, 1-4 Vikings. In my opinion, very important for Matt Eberflus.
Agreed. And the Bears.
Justin Jefferson, you said, got hurt today. So there's
late in the game, hamstring. Don't know how serious, obviously. And we don't wish for injuries, but the Bears have dealt with plenty. Every team in the league deals with them. But that would be huge, whether if he were to be out of the game, obviously, or if he's limited in any way. That's a major, major weapon on their team to.
And if Jalen Johnson can come back,
right?
And I got to look, but is Kyler Murray coming back?
Kyler
Gordon this week, or is
he's eligible
next week?
I think he's eligible this week, but I don't know if that means he's on pace.
Right.
But if you remember, I want to say I don't know if it was the first game of the season, first game they played the Vikings, or second last year. Jefferson had a crazy big first half, and then in the second half they kind of clamped down on him.
Yeah.
I don't know if that sounds familiar to you.
No, it does.
So hopefully there's something there that they can.
Was Jalen Johnson.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm excited to watch at least. I don't know if this had been a stinker this past week. I don't know if I would have been excited to watch. So let's see Eberflus get his first division win.
Yeah, let's see it, guys. Let's see it. Hit the subscribe button. Follow us along. Give us the support. We want to keep going even through the downtime.
That's right.
All right. Bear down.
Bear down.